All right, hey guys, today we're going to talk about the concept point of view. We're going to go over it. You guys, we're going to discuss it. You're going to take notes because you will be tested over this. So I want you guys to be prepared and have all the information at hand. So when you take the test, you can score the maximum points allowed because you understand the concept and you get the information. Before we actually dive into talking about the different types of point of view, we're going over this because everybody right now is on chapter 9 or should be, and I need to make sure that everybody understands the point of view that the novel we're reading, again, which is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, what point of view is written in. That's why we're going over this information now. Okay, to get into the topic at hand, which is point of view, as I stated before, there are 3 different types of point of view that we're going to discuss. 2 of the main ones we're going to discuss right now is the first person point of view, the third person point of view, and we're going to briefly talk about the second person point of view. All right, so you want to start taking notes here. If you had any questions, you may ask questions. You can stop this video as needed and raise your hand and ask questions. All right, so let's begin. The first person point of view. As you guys already know, the first person point of view, in this type of point of view, the narrator is one of the characters in the story. All right. And remember, we just talked about pronouns. We talked about types of pronouns. So this is where you start to see the pronouns actually coming into play, because with the first person point of view, you start using those first person pronouns such as I, me, my, and mine, which are used in telling a story. Since the narrator is a character in the story, he or she may not be completely reliable. Again, because you're seeing or you're hearing the story from their point of view, so they may incorporate some of their own biases, which may not always be helpful in telling a story, especially the type of story that we're reading right now, which is a fable, or any type of story at that. All right, also another thing about the first person point of view is that we find out only what this character knows, thinks, and witnesses. So we don't really get a whole lot of other people's feelings or what they think or what they witness in the first person point of view, because again, of the type of point of view that we're dealing with, which is first person. So that's the first person point of view. As you guys can see on the screen, there's a point of view flow chart. You guys might want to copy that down because you may see that later on a test. All right, the next type of point of view, the major type of point of view we're going to talk about is third person. Third person point of view is broken down into about 3 different types of point of view. We have the third person objective, we have the third person limited, and third person omniscient. All right, the first type is the third person objective. In this type of point of view, the narrator is not a character in the story. So again, one of the main differences from the first person point of view and the third person point of view is that the narrator is not a character in the story. When you're talking about third person point of view, again, we're going to talk about the pronouns. There are some distinct pronouns that are used in this type of point of view that distinguishes it from other types of points of view. In the third person point of view, we're using pronouns such as he, his, hers, it, its, they, and them. And all these pronouns are used in the telling of the story. In this type of point of view, the narrator is an observer who can only tell what is said and done. So again, they are not interjected in the story. They're only telling what is said and what is done in the story. So that's a major difference from the first person point of view, in which the narrator is a character in the story. In the third person objective, the narrator is just an observer and they are only telling what is said and what is done. All right, another distinction is that the narrator cannot see into the minds of any of the characters. So they can't tell what is said and what is done. They cannot see into the mind of the characters. The characters are their own people. They have their own thoughts, and the narrator is not able to telepathically tell what they feel. Okay, and lastly, in the third person objective, we find out only what the characters say and what they do. So all we're getting is the basic information, what the characters say, what they do. Third person objective. All right, the next type we're going to talk about is the third person limited. In this type of point of view, the narrator is not a character in the story, just as we said with the third person objective. Third person pronouns that are used in the third person limited point of view, again, are some of the same, well, all of the same, rather, pronouns that are used in the third person objective. You're going to have pronouns such as he, his, she, hers, it, its, they, and them. And again, these are used in the telling of the story. In this type of point of view, the narrator tells the story from the vantage point of one of the characters. So with this type of point of view, how it's different from the third person objective. Remember, the third person objective, the narrator cannot see into the mind of the characters, and they can only tell what is said and what is done. Third person limited, the narrator tells the story from the vantage point of one of the characters. So that's one main difference. Another difference is that the narrator can see into the character's mind, but not any of the other characters. So in third person limited, the narrator is able to see into the mind of the main character, but not into the mind of the other characters. And lastly, we find out only what the character does, knows, thinks, and witnesses. That is third person limited. The next type of point of view we're going to talk about is the third person omniscient. The narrator in this type of point of view is not a character in the story. The third person pronouns that are used are he, his, she, hers, it, its, they, and them. And again, remember, these are used in the telling of the story. So anytime you see these pronouns, you can bet that it is third person point of view. You just really have to decipher which type of third person point of view is being utilized. Also, in the third person omniscient point of view, the narrator is all-knowing and can see into the minds of all of the characters. The narrator can also report what is said and what is done. So that is the third person omniscient point of view. When you have a narrator who knows everything about all characters, who knows how they think, how they feel, who knows just every aspect of that character, you're looking at the third person omniscient point of view. All right, lastly, third person omniscient, we find out what all the characters do, feel, think, and witness. That's the third person omniscient. And remember, I told you guys there were two main types that we were going to discuss. The first main type was first person point of view. The second main type was the third person point of view. I've given you guys some pronouns to use with all of those. Again, if you look at that flow chart, you can copy that down because it gives you some distinctions in the first and third person point of view. But I'm also going to briefly discuss the second person point of view. That's a point of view that we really don't see used a lot in literature, which is the type of reading that we're doing now. The novel, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I need for you to be able to tell me what type of point of view that the story is being written in. I'm not going to give you the information because I need for you guys to really understand what the different types of point of view are and how to decide what type of point of view is being used in any novel, any story, any narrative, any type of writing. So I want to go over the second person point of view just as a point of reference so you guys know what it is and you know when to decipher between the three different type of points of view. All right, the second person point of view, the only pronouns that are used in this type of point of view are you, yours, and yours. Anytime you see a pronoun that is used that is talking about you, yourself, or the narrator themselves, and those pronouns are you, your, yours, you know, you're looking at the second person point of view. Second person point of view is really easy to distinguish. It's not as hard to distinguish as the first two types. So again, this is fairly easy to distinguish. And another distinguisher is that most stories are not told in second person. Second person point of view is reserved for items of personal address such as letters, emails, anything that is personal. that uses those pronouns, again, you, your, and yours, you know you're talking about the second person point of view. We're going to go ahead, and I need you to make sure that you have all the notes you need. Again, I need you to make sure you copy down the flow chart if needed, because you will see this information again. Remember, guys, I told you that you will see this information on the test, so it is important that you copy it down and understand it.